It's a beautiful Sunday evening, day number 6 in the month of August 2023. Good evening and welcome to Iron Port here on Metropolitan Television. Iron Port is proudly brought to you by the Ghana Revenue Authority, GWEL PLC, Serene Insurance, Ghana Link Network Services, Meridian Port Services, and indeed Phoenix Insurance. The show is proudly powered by the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, GPHA. And our media partner on this journey of a lifetime is the Business and Financial Times, the BNFT. Now, if you want to have a grasp of all that transpired in the show tonight, make a date and grab a Thursday edition of the BNFT, and you'll be able to see all that happened here tonight. Indeed, we are going to be getting interactive with you, and so all you have to do is send us your messages and comments via our dedicated WhatsApp line, which is 0559019177, 0559019177. And when time is right, I shall pick signals from the production team and we shall activate the phone lines for you to call in and contribute to the discussion. We are streaming live on our social media pages. On Facebook, we are live at Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority. Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority. Still on Facebook, we are live at Port of Tema. And on YouTube, we are live at Iron Port Ghana. Iron Port Ghana. My name is Kennedy Mona. We're going for a quick break. When we return, we'll continue with the show. Please stay with us.
Guys, now I'm tired. I'll go on a date with whoever gets here first.
Princess, really?
Okay, I dey come.
Shut up!
Mame, Philip, thank you,
Boss, fill my tank with Super XP Ron 95.
Well up with Super XP Ron 95 and Diesel XP high performance products from GWEL.
Sorry, Tony got here first, so I'm stepping with him.
Oh,
Cut him.
hey, go for that boy, mami.
Choose Super XP Ron 95 and Diesel XP for an energizing driving experience. Always go for GWEL Super XP Ron 95. GWEL, good energy.
GWEL is good energy. Electricity, pay your taxes. Yeah. Our taxes, our future.
Because you see, without our taxes, we wouldn't have good roads, good schools, better hospitals, street lights, and other very important social amenities. When we pay our taxes, we give our children free and quality education. Talga, my money too small. Why should I pay my tax? Look, small. Salifo, it doesn't matter how small or big your business or income is. You still have to pay your taxes. The little taxes from each and every one of us, when put together, could give your community clean water or that deprived school with tables and chairs. Please pay your taxes. It is your responsibility. It is your civic duty. It is the law.
Impressive factory. If only I had listened to you, I wouldn't have been in this mess. That devastating fire virtually wiped out the whole factory and my warehouse.
Remember my misfortunes last year? Serene Insurance Asset All Risk Fire policy that I took were there to pay for my damaged stocks in the warehouse. And my machines that were affected by the floods have been replaced. My accident vehicle is back on the road thanks to Serene Insurance Motor Policy. Currently, my goods are on the IC covered with their marine cargo insurance policy. I was just telling Ajima about Serene Insurance.
Oh, Ajima,
tell him more.
As a road contractor, I make sure I do my contractors all risk insurance
for the project and then workers' compensation for all the workers on site. With Serene Insurance, they will make sure they will cover your unknown tomorrow today.
Serene Insurance, a new face of insurance. Call us now.
MPS Terminal 3 is Africa's new state-of-the-art container terminal at Tema Port. For manufacturers, agro-processors and traders, the new port means business can be done faster. This infrastructure boost will improve Ghana's port handling capacity, connect more trading routes, and oil the engine of growth for the economy, creating greater opportunities across all sectors as Africa's markets merge and become the largest trading bloc globally. MPS, we connect, you thrive.
Business and life can be like the sea sometimes serene, sometimes calm, sometimes turbulent, and at times it brings the unexpected. However it is like, trust Phoenix Insurance for your home, car, business, and marine insurance needs. Call 0302 246 319 or 0243 690 492.
At Phoenix, you experience a delightful service delivered with wisdom.
All right, you all come back. We're now going to take a look at happenings in the port and shipping industry in the course of the week. And indeed, in the course of the week, the Ministry of Transport had calls to meet the media in respect of some electronic vehicle policy that they're trying to implement or roll out in our country, Ghana. Plus the fact that the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority also had calls to issue a press release to clarify some issues raised by the Ghana Union of Traders Association, GUTA, in respect of some tariff implementation. Let's take a look at these stories and more.
The Ministry of Transport has intensified its stakeholder engagement on the draft National Electric Vehicle Policy, the latest being an engagement with some section of the Ghanaian media. So far, the Transport Ministry has held consultative engagement in 14 out of 16 regions, with Greater Accra and Upper West regions to go. The government, under the Paris Climate Accord, has drafted a national electric vehicle policy to solicit stakeholder input and enable the country to switch from the use of fossil fuel vehicles to electronic vehicles to curb greenhouse gas emissions and global warming. The drafted policy, whose framework was developed in June 2022, is aimed at drawing up a comprehensive implementation plan and an investment strategy to ensure a seamless transition. The Director of Policy Planning, Monitoring and Evaluation at the Ministry of Transport, Irene Mesiba, said the engagement is meant to solicit the views of journalists before the final draft is put together.
And as I said, the policy is not tomorrow. We are giving a heads up to everybody that it is coming. So we all need to be prepared. Ask questions, contribute, and also give us your comments. So
a Deputy Minister of Transport, Asan Tampoli, noted that as global automotive markets begin to phase out fossil-fueled vehicles for electric ones, Ghana risks becoming a dumping site if synergic efforts are not harnessed to switch to electronic vehicles.
As we move along, what do we do with the existing means of transport that we have, so that we are not leading a situation where we leave some people who are probably just acquired a vehicle and not able to use them in the next 5-10 years. So as we are thinking of rolling out EVs, we are also thinking very critically of what to do with the existing vehicles so that they don't become waste, for all of us.
He said Ghana stands at the threshold of history if she gets it right with the transition to the electronic vehicles.
If we get it right, we carry the entire sub-region along. Like I said before in one other place that we met, between Ghana and Nigeria, we account for 75% of the petroleum products consumed in the West Africa sub-region alone. So if we're able to do this right, Nigeria becomes a potent market for us.
3rd August 2023 press release. Increase in GPHA tariff. The Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, GPHA, on 1st August 2023 implemented its revised and restructured tariff and has taken note of a press release issued on 2nd August 2023 by the President of the Ghana Union of Traders Association, GUTA. Consequently, GPHA wishes to clarify as follows. 1. That before the implementation of the tariff, there were a series of engagements with the relevant institutions and major stakeholders, including the Ghana Shippers Authority, GSA, Ship Owners and Agents Association of Ghana, SOAG, Freight Forwarding Associations, Ghana Union of Traders Association, GUTA, Importers and Exporters Association of Ghana, as well as representations from the transit trading community to gather insights and feedback before implementing the tariff increment. These engagements started from April to July 2023, and stakeholder concerns were considered, culminating in a reduction of the initial figures captured in the tariff proposal and an extension of the implementation date from July to August. The final notice of implementation was communicated to all the stakeholders on the 1st of June 2023. However, some stakeholders still expressed reservations on the percentage increment and the timing. Despite their concerns, GPHA was compelled to implement the revised tariff due to the current global economic challenges, including inflation and currency depreciation, which have increased our operational cost. 2. That the scope of the review was such that some tariff items were not increased, while others were restructured to address the distortions and lack of clarity in the interpretation and application of some tariff items. 3. That GPHA has no specific time frame for tariff reviews. The decision to increase port tariffs comes after careful evaluation and consideration of various factors impacting the port's operations. Indeed, records show that there was a time when port tariffs was not reviewed for more than a decade. GPH's operations, like any other business, is affected by increases in the price of fuel, water, electricity, machinery, and equipment, among others. While we understand that tariff increments may have short-term effect on businesses, it is essential to maintain a delicate balance between cost recovery and providing quality services. 4. That GPHA is equally concerned about the low traffic volumes, but that is no reason for the authority to operate at a loss. Our investigation revealed that the decline in cargo volumes cannot be attributed to GPHA's service charges. GPHA's charges as a component of the total cost of cargo clearance in the port is about 6%. We are currently conducting a study on the individual contributors and their share to total cost of cargo clearance in our ports, so that together we can engage and find possible solutions. 5. That GPHA has invested millions of dollars in upgrading port infrastructure and a well-maintained and efficient port system, which in the long run will contribute to a reduction in operational costs for businesses, enhance productivity, and facilitate smoother trade operations. 6. That like all other increments done in the past, the rates of increments in this year's tariff adjustments were informed by the outcome of a comparative port tariff study we conducted in our neighboring ports of Lomé and Abidjan to ensure that at every given time, our ports will remain competitive in terms of price and quality of services. We wish to note that even with the increment of 1st August 2023, overall, our port tariffs remain competitive compared to our neighbors. 7. That transparency and accountability remain at the core of GPHA's decision-making process, ensuring that the interest of all parties is considered. We are therefore committed to transforming the Port of Ghana into the leading trade and logistics hub in West Africa. Signed, Mrs. Esther J.B. Donko, General Manager, Marketing and Corporate Affairs.
All right, so those were happenings in the port and shipping industry in the course of the week. We are now going for some international port and shipping news. All right, I'm told we are not going to take international, so we'll go for the word of the day. And the word of the day today is unmooring. Unmooring.
Word of the day, unmoor. Unmoor refers to the removal of the ropes that attach a ship to the shore.
Tonight, we are taking a look at insurance, marine insurance, and what traders, importers, and shippers in general stand to benefit if they insure their commercial cargoes locally. That's the question we're asking tonight. And so we have our assembled experts. I know this has been a long-standing issue. It's been a long-standing topic, but since we are getting our way clearer, the coast is getting clearer, and there's a general consensus that that's the way to go. And so I'm sure the National Insurance Commission, together with other stakeholders, have been able to iron most of the issues that pertains to this particular policy, the marine insurance, marine cargo insurance policy. And so tonight we want to take a look at it. And if you are a trader, you are an importer, you are a shipper in general, and you have issues boggling your mind as far as this particular policy is concerned, I believe that this is the forum for you to get some answers, because we have some competent experts in the studio tonight to do justice to the topic and to answer that relevant question, what you're going to benefit, you know, if you insure your cargo, your commercial cargoes here in Ghana. And so it gives me pleasure this evening to introduce to us Madam Gertrude Ajua Ohene-Sienim. She is Executive Director, White Stone Shipbrokers, Ghana Limited, and also West Africa School of Shipping Limited. Good evening, ma'am, and welcome. This is not your first time. We're glad to have you again. Okay.
coming on the show, and to all WISTA members.
Absolutely.
And ICS members.
Absolutely. I understand you are the newly elected president for the Women's Women's Training and Shipping Association, West Africa.
Yes, I was just elected as the president of WISTA on the 14th of July.
Wow. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am. We're glad to have you in the studios. Also in the studios, Mr. Emmanuel Fifi Blankson. Mr. Emmanuel Fifi Blankson is an insurer and also a member of the Cargo Insurance Committee. Good evening, sir, and welcome.
Good evening, and thank you for having me here.
Absolutely.
And my greetings to everybody in the insurance industry as we take steps to bring to the fore the need for local marine insurance. And I'm sure they all get involved so that we push this agenda and push it further.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Beautiful preamble. Right. So I'll first of all want you to walk us through what exactly marine insurance is.
Okay.
Going back to basics.
Yeah, marine insurance, I'll say it's one line of insurance. Insurance has various lines, but this line of insurance actually is applicable to the conveyance of goods, basically cargo. And it's also applicable to, how do you call it, damages. Right, to harbors, vessels, pipelines, rigs, oil platforms. So marine insurance is actually very diverse, and it covers a lot of risks. But I think today our main focus is on cargo.
Yes.
And most people actually, when we talk of marine insurance, what comes to mind is marine cargo. And basically, marine cargo also covers any cargo that is being transported, either by sea, by aviation, or by inland transit models. Great.
Absolutely. Okay, so I know you are a member of the committee, like I rightly introduced.
Good.
What were some of the considerations that went into the thinking that this is the way to go?
Right. If we take our minds back, we've heard several times that what's the contribution of insurance to our GDP? Basically 1%. Then we also hear a lot of, how do you call it, international trade going on. We are basically an importing country.
Absolutely.
And once we import with hard currency. So it's just a simple logic that if we are paying for the goods and we can provide the services in-house here in Ghana, why should we also import the services? There are over 10 or 20 insurance companies here, well-resourced, well-capitalized, that can insure all kinds of cargoes that are imported into this country.
Right.
And for that reason, the NIC felt it was appropriate that it put in place regulations.
When you say NIC, that's the National Insurance Commission. Yes.
Put in place regulations and procedures to forestall or curtail this activity of people buying or importing goods into the country on a CIF basis, cost insurance and freight. It puts a lot of pressure on our economy. So I think it's one of the reasons that NIC felt was necessary. And also, there are instances that maybe on the second leg you realize that transactions are quite done in various languages. International trade, you don't need to travel to go and buy your goods and come. You can sit here and do all your transactions here.
Right.
Certain clauses or lessons are inserted into the transactions for you, which you might not even understand. And then when the reason for which you are buying insurance crystallizes, you realize that you bought insurance, but you don't have cover.
Right.
So to protect our importers and to put a stop to all of these things, I think it's one of the reasons that the NIC felt it was necessary that we streamline and sanitize the marine insurance space in this country.
Absolutely. Let me come to you, Ma'am, and find out what do you think the role of local marine insurance is in the shipping and logistics sector in our country?
Well, there are various risks associated with doing business. And insurance is a risk management mechanism.
Right.
We have risk of handling, risk of transport, the risk of even clearing the goods at the port, and various risks associated with when you're doing business, especially dealing with imported or exported goods. And so to protect the business person, you need somebody to share your risk with. And that is what insurance does. So you share your risk. If you remember, when we were kids,
Yes.
we used to have this advert on TV. I can't remember which of the insurance companies, but you see this cat jumping from a height.
Right.
And then he comes and lands on a cushion.
Yes.
And then, so when the cat is falling from the height, you feel that it's going to die.
Yes.
And then suddenly it falls on this cushion.
Absolutely.
That is what insurance does.
Yes, I also remember this latex foam advert where this guy was driving and whistling, enjoying his jolly ride, and then all of a sudden, wow! Accident. Then he was landing and landed on this thing. Yeah.
Most people joke.
That was glyco, yes, I understand.
Exactly.
Glyco,
Most people joke with insurance and say, oh, when will my house catch fire?
Yeah.
Or when will my car catch fire?
Right.
So we take it for granted. But it happens to people all the time. And it is then and then that they start reflecting. So it is always a good idea to manage your risk by putting the burden on somebody. That's what insurance does for you. So it's a risk transfer mechanism where you transfer the risk in the business you're doing to somebody else to bear that risk whilst you go to bed and relax. So basically, there are a lot of risk associated with bringing goods, whether by land, sea, or air. And some of these risks, some of them are even not the fault of the parties involved. And when we get to the benefits, we will discuss some of them, like a general average declaration by a carrier. That one, you don't even have anything to do with it. You'll just be there and you'll be slumped with it. Just like the ever-given getting stuck at the
Suez Canal.
So it was something that nobody planned for. And when such occurrences happen, it means that you need somebody to fall onto because they can be huge. They can be very huge. So this is what we are talking about, that take insurance to cover such risk so that insurance can help you get your business back should something unforeseen happens. So it's for the unforeseen and the unknown, which is always something that you don't plan for.
Right. You mentioned benefits, and so that was going to be my next question. What benefits we can derive from, insuring our cargo locally?
There are several benefits.
You mentioned general average.
Yes. So I'll explain. First,
sure.
When you import, you realize that the law is regulating imported goods into the country, not exported goods outside of the country. Simply because when you are exporting goods, it's going to somebody else's country, and they will have their own laws and regulations, similar to what we have here, which will make it mandatory for their citizens to also buy insurance, because usually the risk will occur at the destination. When you import goods and your container comes, or you are offloading your bags of rice from a vessel, you'll notice the loss or damage in country.
Right.
So once you notice loss or damage in country, it is easier for you when you have insured locally to walk to your insurance company and take your claim. Again, you are buying, anytime you are buying goods a step further in any of the Incoterms, and the seller is doing the obligation for you, it means they are adding their margins.
Right.
And that is what people don't realize. So if I am arranging the transport for you, I have to add my margin on the transport. If I'm arranging insurance for you, I have to add my margin on the insurance. So if I'm doing all the throughput from origin to destination, it means for every stage, I have to add my margins.
Right.
And so it means you are paying more for something that you could have done locally yourself at no extra margin to your business. So you are losing money. Again, it is easier to make claims with an insurance company that is within the country, where, one, you are buying the insurance in foreign exchange. So again, you are making losses on foreign exchange. And we all complain that our CD is always fluctuating. These are some of the things. We are buying huge things from outside the country, bringing them in, and then we are paying insurance on these things that are in foreign currency. Again, these are things that you can easily avoid and then make more profit for your business. You're also looking at things like carrier's limitation of liability.
Right.
When you lose your goods, mostly people think that, oh, when my goods are coming and they get lost in an aircraft or in a ship, the carrier will pay for it. Carriers are regulated by international regulations.
Right.
Some of them, like the Hague-Visby rules, the Hamburg rules, which regulate international transport of goods by sea, and by air we have the Warsaw Convention and the others.
Right.
These conventions protect the carrier, and therefore they have some exceptions and exemptions from certain things that happen. And even when things happen, they have things that protect them under those laws, which allows them to limit their liability. So let's say you bought this water for 10 cedis and you lose it on a vessel. It's likely the carrier will pay you something like 2 cedis.
Right.
So the rest of the 8 cedis, it's your risk to manage. So these are, when insurance comes in, they will pay you for the sum insured or for the damage or loss that you incurred and put you at the place where you were before the loss, which is called the measure of indemnity when you are dealing with insurance.
Right.
And so, again, people buy goods on policies that do not cover their risk, just like Fifi mentioned earlier when he started speaking. We have different clauses under the insurance policies. We have what we call the Institute Cargo Clause A, which covers what we call the all risk. We have B and C. The B and C are named per risk. If you buy something like a television on under the Institute Cargo Clause C, you have an insurance policy.
Right.
But what is your biggest risk, Kennedy? I'm asking you. Under when you buy something like a television and you are bringing it, what's your biggest risk with that?
That doesn't break.
Breakage.
No damage is caused. Really.
No damage, or so breakage. Now, the Institute Cargo Clause C doesn't cover anything like breakage.
Okay.
So you would have an insurance policy. You have actually paid for it, and then you think that you have cover. But the item you are bringing and the policy you have do not even match because it doesn't have cover breakage, and so, or pilferage, something like that, or theft.
Right.
So it means that you have paid for something that is useless. But when you sit with an insurer locally, he can advise you on what to do and be able to tell you exactly what you need for what you are bringing in to be able to cover your risk in totality.
Right.
So that you'll be able to have a comprehensive policy that protects you. Again, you have a regulator like the NIC where if the insurance company misbehaves, you can easily report them to. I've had people come to my office with policies that are in Chinese. They have lost so much and they can't get their money back because if the seller is not able to help you in the country of origin to claim, it means that you have to even incur extra cost in the claim process. So the benefit to the importer is enormous, and these are just but a few. And things like, as I mentioned, general average which is an intentional or sacrifice or expenditure intentionally made for the benefit of a common adventure. It is something that nobody plans for. It happens on an adventure inadvertently, and they give you your share of general average, where it's something that where there has been a jettison on board a vessel or something has been sacrificed to save the adventure. When you have insurance, the insurance company will give you the insurance bond to be able to pay for your general average loss. So the benefits are huge. I think if I can only lecture on the benefits alone for the whole day. So let me leave you for the other questions.
Okay, I'll come to Mr. Blankston for if he has anything to add in terms of the benefits. But one thing I'm interested in is the general average and jettison. That is when you have your goods at sea and there's some turbulence and you decide to perhaps for wanting to stabilize the vessel, you threw some of them off. Is that what it is?
So let me bring it home.
Yes.
What is general average?
Yes.
Kennedy, did you go to church?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so have you heard
It's
about the story of Jonah?
It's been a while, do.
Have you heard about the story of Jonah?
Yes.
Okay, so Jonah went on board a vessel, right? And then there was huge turbulence.
Right.
You realize that the crew tried everything they know about navigation, but it wasn't working. So they were asking questions. And then Jonah said, I think I'm the cause. So throw me into the sea. And then when you throw me into the sea, I think your problems will be solved. And he was thrown into the sea and the turbulence. That is general average, mainly.
Right.
So it is an intentional, every insurance is an unforeseen thing. It's a risk that just happens. Fire just gets your things and it is gone. But general average is an intentional thing, and it should be extraordinary sacrifice or an expenditure. So jettison is only one of them. So when a vessel is in huge turbulence, the crew have tried all their crewmanship skills and nothing is working. If we don't take this particular thing and do it based on this, we are going to lose this entire adventure. And so it must not just be only the vessel. It should have cargo, the ship itself, and other things that are at risk before an owner can claim general average.
Awesome.
So when that happens, it means that they must do something immediately. There's been times that ships' engines have ceased and coal on board vessels in the olden days have been used to fuel the vessel to destination. These are what we call general average. So there are different scenarios that can orchestrate general average loss. And when these things happen, it is a decision that is taken by the carrier to save. If we don't save it, it means that everything else we have will be lost. So with general average, once something has been sacrificed, everybody who had an interest in that adventure has to contribute. So it's not like going for Ghana parties. You go with nothing. This one, everybody brings something on board, including the person who has lost. So assuming my 100 containers were thrown off to be able to save that adventure, I will also contribute. So everybody who had an interest, the cargo owners, if it's the containers belong to somebody else, if the vessel, the carrier himself, everybody who had an interest in the adventure will be given something to pay.
Cost sharing,
Cost sharing, exactly. So that based on that effort, so it means that the adventure must be successful.
Absolutely.
So for general average to be declared, the adventure must be extraordinary. It must be intentionally made. There must be a common adventure. It means cargo, ship, and other things, freight. There can be bunkers. There can, because when you charter a vessel, the bunkers are bought by the charterer, not the ship owner. So everybody who had an interest in that will have to contribute and pay. And so once the adventure is not successful, it means a total loss will be declared, and that is called particular average.
Right.
Okay, so general average is distinguished from particular
average. Absolutely. Thank you very much, ma'am. Let me come to Mr. Blankson. Yes, she listed a litany of benefits that we can derive from insuring our cargoes locally, marine, you know.
Right.
But let me find out from you whether you also have some that you would want to highlight.
Yes, I have a few to add to what my sister just shared with you. Obtaining marine insurance locally is very easy. It's just an issue of perception. It's one of the easiest, just like buying any insurance on the market.
Right.
You have an intermediary to go through, that's a broker. You can equally go to the insurance company yourself directly. You buy your insurance, and the cover is given to you. Even the cost of negotiation, everything on the policy will be explained to you in a language that you best understand. If it's in English, and excuse me, maybe your English is not very good, and you can understand it in Chi, the person can explain it to you in a language you understand. Right. My sister also said something. You can pay in your local currency. You don't need to pay for the insurance in dollars or something. No, you pay in the currency that you are here doing business with us, this Ghanaian city. And then also, when you have claims, the insurance company is there, you walk straight to the insurance company. If you're having challenges with the insurance, making claims are also very simple. The same documents that you took to the insurance company to effect the policy will be the same documents that will be used to substantiate your claim and other documents that you get from ports and harbor and then ship owners. If you're having challenges with the insurance company when it comes to claims, there are various steps in your way that can help you. One, there is this, how do you call it, intermediaries, brokers. They have an association, which is IBAC. If you bought through an intermediary and you're having challenges, the association has access to the insurance company to step in to try and resolve your issue. If you buy it directly through the insurance company, you have the Ghana Insurance Association. We have a complaint desk. You go there, you lodge your complaint. They look into the merits of your case, and then invite the insurance company and resolve it. If these two things does not work for you, you can escalate to the ultimate, that's the National Insurance Commission, which also has a complaint desk, and that's where all issues pertaining to marine insurance will be addressed. So if you buy an insurance here, rest assured, every issue that you have will be addressed and attended to your satisfaction.
Absolutely. Okay, so in Ghana's new Insurance Act, that's Act 1061, Section 222, Clause 1, or is it subsection 1? It states that unless authorized by the Commission, I believe Commission here refers to the NIC,
yes,
the National Insurance Commission, a person shall not enter into a contract of insurance with an offshore insurer in respect of A, property situate in the country, B, liabilities arising in the country, or C, goods other than personal effects being imported into the country.
Okay.
Can you kindly expatiate on this?
All right, so just as you touched on, the law stipulates that once you're in Ghana, you don't have any right to engage in any insurance contract with an insurance company which is outside the shores of the country. No. 2, if you are importing something into the country, aside from your personal effects that you bring in, not for commercial use, you have no right to buy any insurance or enter into any insurance contract with an insurance provider outside the country. And the law is very explicit on that. So the reason behind this is that, like my sister touched on, there are adequate means for you to get the same service that you're looking to buy from outside. And it doesn't make for good economic sense in a country as we are now to go and ship in insurance whilst you have insurance here. So the law as it is to protect us. The one thing I keep telling people that there is no law that's passed that intends to make the citizens poorer. Every law that is passed is focused on making the country stable or creating wealth for the country. And this is one of those laws. If we all adhere to this law, it means we have a very huge import bill. But if you look at the correspondence of insurance to rates, it's very small. So this law, as it is now, is to guide us and help us sanitize our insurance industry. There are countries that have done it already. If you go to Nigeria, you cannot bring goods in with a foreign insurer. It has to be done with a local insurer. Kenya is doing it. Tanzania is doing it. So we are not the first. And even if you go back to the previous act, Act 724, I think 2007, is it Section 37? That this line has been in it for a long time. But the issue is that we have not taken steps to, implement it. I think now the NIC is taking the steps. And even to make it easier, the NIC has gone into, we've signed a memorandum of understanding with other statutory institutions. We have the GRA, we have the Shippers Authority, so that we make the insurance simple for everybody. Previous people say when they bring in goods and there's no insurance, they have to pay a penalty to SEPs. This is coming to take off that, because the cost of the insurance you buy here is even, the fee is, or the premium is quite lower than the sanctions that SEPs will slap on you if you don't have the insurance. So this law actually is to make business very friendly. And I think when everybody takes time to go into rates and buy the insurance and follow it, business will thrive. And you know, insurance also has, the other benefits of insurance is that my sister says a risk transfer. But aside the risk transfer, it's, it's an enabler. Insurance creates wealth in so many means. If you buy insurance locally, your premium goes to an insurance company. Insurance company will end up creating jobs. You employ someone. When you employ someone, it's just keep turning the money within the country, and we'll all be okay. So I think basically the main core of this law is to make sure that we develop as a country. And I think that is where everybody will have to align. Because if we don't, then we are shooting ourselves in the foot. Right.
Okay, so I don't know whether you've listened to him, keenly. I want to find out if there's anything you want to add to what he has espoused so far.
So basically, just like Fifi said, it's more concerning imports. If you're an exporter and there's no law in the other country barring you from insuring before you export your goods, again, you're also covering your risk. So it's more about what risk do I have? That is what you have to ask yourself. And the risk you have is certainly based on the trade term you are dealing with.
Right.
If I'm an exporter and I'm doing door-to-door services, and it means that I'm the one supposed to do everything from origin to destination. It means the risk lies with me, not the importer.
Absolutely.
So it means that I have to cover my risk. So you can also take insurance locally to protect your risk. If you are buying goods, let's say on CIF value or CIP, these are the only two compulsory Incoterms that mandates the seller to take insurance.
I know CIF is cost insurance and freight. CIB is?
Cost insurance paid to.
Okay.
So we use CIF for sea transport only. And we use CIP for either multimodal transport or when you are using other modes of transport other than sea.
Okay.
So the current Incoterms 2020 distinguishes between Incoterms that you can use only for sea and Incoterms that you can use for all modes of transport. So when you are at the airport, we don't say CIF value. We say CIP value.
Okay.
Okay, so if you are transporting goods by road, you don't buy on CIF value, you buy on CIP value.
Right.
In the same way, if goods are going to Burkina Faso through Tema port, you don't buy goods on CIF value, you buy CIP value.
Right.
Because you'll be combining transport.
Right.
It will not end at Tema,
Yes.
but will go by road. So anytime you have multiple transports involved, there are some Incoterms you cannot use. So that is the current Incoterms that we have. They have clear distinction between Incoterms that you can use for all modes of transport and the ones that you can use for sea only.
Right.
But people are so used to CIF, FOB.
Yeah.
These are all C terms only. And you can't use them for other modes of transport. So these are the only two Incoterms that mandate the seller to buy insurance on behalf of the buyer.
Right.
Now, you, the buyer, you are the one paying for this insurance. So what the law is saying is that avoid these two Incoterms and go for other similar terms. So buy cost and freight or cost paid to, so that the insurance will be taken locally for you to get the CIF value. Because when the goods get to the port, it's the CIF value that is used in calculating the duty for you.
Right.
Now, if you don't have insurance, what the customs will do, or GRA will do, is that they will give you a penalty for not having insurance. And that is the 0.875% that they use in calculating the insurance duty.
Right.
And if it's the airport, they use 1%. As Fifi hinted, when you buy insurance, depending on the commodity you are bringing in or the risk factors associated with it, your insurance value is less than that. So it means that if you do not have the insurance certificate, they are using higher values to calculate your duty payable.
Right.
It means, again, you are paying for something that, and most people have misunderstood that to mean that is insurance. That is penalty for not having the insurance certificate.
Right.
So once you have the insurance certificate, it means it's the value of the insurance certificate with your other cost that is used to calculate the duty for you. So it is a benefit to comply with the law and take the insurance locally. And if you have challenges, so the law, every law is flexible. There could be instances where it will be difficult to comply with this. So the NIC has provisions that, unless authorized, it means you can still go to the authorizer to give you a waiver if it is difficult for you because of one thing or another to comply with the law. And so that is also most people, the burden that has been on most people. Okay, I buy goods on credit. And so once the exporter is giving me the goods on credit, he will not allow me to take the insurance locally. So the law has factored all those things into it. Because if I am giving you credit, in sales term, I can put what we call a right of retention in the ownership of the goods. And in that case, I would want to regulate the risk myself. So I will not allow you to. It's just like going for a mortgage to buy a house. The bank will not allow you to take the insurance yourself. They do it for you. Okay, so it's the same thing with cargo. If I'm putting a right of retention on something, I would want to also control everything concerning that item. So the law allows that. You can get a waiver for that, if that is the case. So the law is very flexible.
Absolutely.
And it's for the benefit of the citizens to be able to make business sense in what they do and also manage their risk.
Awesome. All right. So, can you walk us through the process for taking, cargo insurance locally?
Well, I think the process is pretty simple. Again, it's one of the questions that, and since Fifi is here, if I miss anything, you add to
Absolutely.
that. The process people have been thinking about is that, okay, I go to China and I'm buying my goods from different sources. How do I then take the insurance locally? In every business, once you request for a pro forma invoice, you can't even start the process. Okay, so it just starts with getting an invoice. The insurer would want to know a few questions. Where are you bringing the goods from? What are you bringing in? How is it packaged? All these things will go into determining the premium that they can. And marine insurance functions differently from other forms of insurance in the sense that marine insurance is only the insurance that you can take insurance in anticipation of.
Right.
But your risk will attach only when your interest will attach only when the risk takes effect. So even when the goods, you are now buying the goods, you can still talk to the insurer about your intention of procuring the insurance.
Right.
So once you have an invoice or a pro forma invoice, you know where your goods are coming from, and you know the destination, you know how it's going to be packaged.
Yes.
If it's going to be put in a container, it will affect the risk. If it's in bags, it will affect the risk. So once you know all of that and you approach the insurance company, they will be able to give you the proposal form for you to fill, and then for them to give you the cover. And the cover can be reviewed at any time, okay? So again, people worry about, okay, I don't know the duty yet. I don't know this yet.
Yes.
Again, in marine insurance, you can take insurance up to about 110% of the cost.
Okay.
Because that 10% is supposed to cover the ancillary things in relation to, like the duty, the freight forwarding cost, and other costs in addition to the transport cost. So the cargo insurance here is a transport risk. It's supposed to regulate your risk in relation to transport. It's not a warehouse risk.
Right.
So there's a different insurance for warehousing of goods, unless the warehousing is incidental to the transport. So goods are on a ship coming or in an aircraft coming, and for one reason or the other, it has to be turned into a port of refuge, or there's transshipment, and they have to be put in a warehouse. That one is incidental to the adventure, so that will be covered under your insurance. But if it is supposed to attach to a transport, so you have to take the insurance before the transport commences, and not when the adventure has ended. Now what people are doing is that the ship has arrived in country, and they are now going to take the insurance just to go and clear the goods. You are just giving the insurance company money. So take the insurance to cover your actual risk, which is the transport risk, before the goods arrive, so that you can benefit if something happens to the goods.
Mr. Blankton, why is it that some people find it very difficult to take insurance locally? I think a lot of people are, I wouldn't describe it as a phobia, but they don't see the need to do that.
Yeah, I think you're right. And it's not only to marine insurance. People are a bit, in Ghana, we feel or have that kind of, how do you call it, psychology that, oh, God is in control. Absolutely. It will not happen to me.
Yeah. Is that, how many times does the vessel...
Good. You talk to someone, tell you, I've been doing this business for the past 10 years. I've never had any claim. But when the claim wants to come, it doesn't give you any signal. Right? So it shouldn't be difficult for people to buy insurance. I think it's all about education. And that's what the NIC is doing now, to educate people that buying insurance, it's not, how do you call it, as complex as working any algebra. It's a simple thing. Once you have the documents and you have your interest, because you are covering your goods that you are bringing in. walk to any insurance company, walk to any intermediary, that to be a broker, and they will guide you through the process, and you can get the insurance that you want. Like my sister touched on something earlier. When most people buy insurance from outside, they don't read the policy documents. What happens? Sometimes most of the policies that you are given will cover you up to Tema Port. When your goods are discharged at Tema Port, the insurance ends.
Okay.
But assuming you're transporting your goods to, let's say, Kaswa, and this 40-footer container falls off the road, you don't have any insurance. But if you buy an insurance from here locally, the insurance company will explain to you where is your final destination. It's not Tema. It's my warehouse somewhere in Kaswa, somewhere in Budubram. So those things are the add-ons that you get from buying insurance locally. Your business partner sitting in China or something, does not know Kaswa. All he knows is Tema Port or Takoradi Port. So once you get involved with a local insurance company or intermediary, you get the absolute cover that you need for your consignment. And that shouldn't be a challenge. So I think the intermediaries, that's the brokers, are also educating the public. NIS is also educating. I think this is one of the platforms also to educate the public about the advantages of buying insurance locally.
Now, you made mention of the fact that sometimes, like if I take insurance locally, it ends at the port. That means from Accra through the motorway to the Tema at the port, it ends there. And you also made mention of the fact that Kaswa, I mean, if I'm going to Kaswa with my cargo and the container, gets involved in an accident. Now, the truck that the container is on, what if it's insured? Doesn't it cover my container?
That truck, actually, it depends on the contract you have with that haulage company. If the haulage company has adequate cover to cover your cargo for you, fair enough. But if they don't, you're on your own.
Absolutely.
How many truck
Yes.
companies have?
We'll be able to take that liability, that risk.
Exactly.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So one thing that came out strongly when this issue first surfaced was claims by some of the importers and traders that the local insurance companies do not have the financial wherewithal, the financial muscle to be able to pay claims. Is this something you think it's legitimate? Is it a legitimate concern?
I do not think it's a legitimate concern. If you understand insurance very well, it works in different forms.
Right.
And there are over 20 general insurance companies in Ghana. When you go on the NIC website, they actually rate the insurance companies. So one, again, you even have the right to make the right choice because you know that when an insurance company is well rated, it means they pay claims promptly. Again, insurance, as we said, is a risk-sharing mechanism. So the insurers also have a way of sharing their risk with people who have muscles than them.
Right.
And it's the same thing. So if I buy insurance from Fifi's insurance company, you also do what we call reinsurance with another insurance company locally, and then the reinsurer can also reinsure his risk outside the country so that the risk is shared among different companies with strong muscles to be able to maintain the claim. Otherwise, most insurance companies would collapse. Again, insurance has a mechanism called co-insurance. Co-insurance means that Kennedy is coming to insure this water, just like we do in the oil and gas sector. So the cost of one rig or an FPSO is too huge for any insurance company to bear that risk. So what they will do is that, what percentage can I take? So if you want to insure 20% of that locally, okay, let's all come together in a pool to co-insure this. That is allowed in insurance. So they will pool their muscles together and insure the one item to be able to share the risk among themselves. So there are different mechanisms by which the insurance companies themselves will take a risk and maintain that risk. So one, it's good to go to an insurance company that is well rated. They are good and known. You know, sometimes we want to cut down on costs. So you go to an insurance company that is giving you a very low rate. Even in this instance, the NIC is regulating that. So they've given all the insurance companies the barest minimum and maximum rate by which they can insure all cargoes, so that they are all on the same. Again, they've created a marine and aviation database where the insurance will be underwritten, and it's controlled by the NIC. So they can see which insurance company is undercutting and which one is overpricing. So it means that the regulator really wants this to work. So they've put in all the necessary measures to be able to curb these. So if the insurance company is not satisfying your needs, you have so many others to choose from. And again, you can report them to the NIC, and I can promise you that they will be dealt with.
Awesome. All right, so this is Eye on Port here on Metropolitan Television, and tonight we're asking a very simple question. You, the importer, what do you stand to benefit if you insure your commercial cargo here in Ghana? That's the question we're asking. And you can see the lucid responses from our experts in the studios tonight. We have in the studios Madame Gertrude Adjoa Ohene-Sienim, who is the Executive Director of White Stone Shipbrokers and also West Africa School of Shipping Limited. And we also have in the studios Mr. Emmanuel Blankson. There's a middle name Fifi, which I like so much, who is an insurer and a member of the Marine Cargo Committee. Yes, they are the two personalities we're having a discussion with tonight. We're going for a quick break. When we return, I'm sure the time will be right for us to activate the phone lines for you to call in and contribute to the discussion. Please stay with us.
Guys, no, I'm tired. I'll go on a date with whoever gets here first.
Princess, really? Okay, I come.
Shut up!
Mame, boss, fill my tank with Super XP Ron 95.
Well up with Super XP Ron 95 and Diesel XP high performance products from Goyle.
Sorry, Tony got here first, so I'm stepping with him.
Oh, cut him. Hey, go for mommy.
Choose Super XP Ron 95 and Diesel XP for an energizing driving experience. Always go for Goyle Super XP Ron 95. Goyle, good energy.
Electricity, then pay your taxes. Yeah, our taxes, our future.
Because you see, without our taxes, we wouldn't have good roads, good schools, better hospitals, street lights, and other very important social amenities. When we pay our taxes, we give our children free and quality education. Talga, my money too small. Why should I pay my tax? Look, small. Salifo, it doesn't matter how small or big your business or income is. You still have to pay your taxes. The little taxes from each and every one of us, when put together, could give your community clean water or that deprived school with tables and chairs. Please pay your taxes. It is your responsibility. It is your civic duty. It is the law.
Impressive factory. If only I had listened to you, I wouldn't have been in this mess. That devastating fire virtually wiped out the whole factory and my warehouse.
Remember my misfortunes last year? Serene Insurance Asset All Risk Fire policy that I took were there to pay for my damaged stocks in the warehouse. And my machines that were affected by the floods have been replaced. My accident vehicle is back on the road thanks to Serene Insurance motor policy. Currently, my goods are on the high seas, covered with their marine cargo insurance policy. I was just telling Ajima about Serene Insurance.
Oh, Ajima, tell him more. As a road contractor, I make sure I do my contractors all risk insurance for the projects and then workers' compensation for all the workers on site. With Serene Insurance, they will make sure they will cover your unknown tomorrow today.
Serene Insurance, a new face of insurance. Call us now.
MPS Terminal 3 is Africa's new state-of-the-art container terminal at Tema Port. For manufacturers, agro-processors and traders, the new port means business can be done faster. This infrastructure boost will improve Ghana's port handling capacity, connect more trading routes, and oil the engine of growth for the economy, creating greater opportunities across all sectors as Africa's markets merge and become the largest trading bloc globally. MPS, we connect, you thrive.
Business and life can be like the sea sometimes. Sometimes serene, sometimes calm, sometimes turbulent, and at times it brings the unexpected. However it is like, trust Phoenix Insurance for your home, car, business, and marine insurance needs. Call 0302 246 319 or 0243 690 492.
At Phoenix, you experience a delightful service delivered with wisdom.
All right, so welcome back. This is our import here on Metropolitan Television, and tonight we're asking a very simple question. What do you stand to benefit as an importer if you insure a commercial cargo locally? With me in the studios tonight, Mrs. Gertrude Adjoa Ohenesi-Anim, who is the Executive Director of the Whitestone Shipbrokers and indeed West Africa School of Shipping Limited. He's also in the studios, Mr. Emmanuel Fifi Blankson, an insurer and member of the Cargo Insurance Committee. Indeed, Madam Gertrude is also a member of the Cargo Insurance Committee. I think that's put together by the National Insurance Commission. And so they are the two solid personalities we're having a discussion with tonight. Well, I've been told to activate the phone lines for you to call in. The number to dial is 020-5528-353, 020-5528-353. You can call in and contribute to the discussion. So let me come once again to Madam Ohenesi-Anim and find out from you what measures have been put in place to facilitate the uptake of cargo insurance locally.
So the NIC thought it wise that instead of just saying this is law, so let's just implement it immediately, decided that all stakeholders in this business must be educated on what they stand to benefit. I mean, this is something that when you explain to anybody and they get to understand what they stand to benefit, usually there's no argument. Initially, I had people who would argue about why this is so. And there's been places where I've made presentations, and immediately after the presentation, and they get to understand, oh, so this is how it works. It's that easy, and I can do this, and the benefit is rather for me. They then tend to understand why this is important for them. So first is sensitization of all stakeholders.
Right.
Also putting in place the marine and aviation insurance database, where it's a common platform for all insurance companies to be able to underwrite.
Common platform for all insurance companies to underwrite.
Underwrite.
When we return, you continue from there, please. I understand we have a caller. Let's welcome the caller. I understand he's calling from Accra. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes, please.
The duty, I understand, from what I'm hearing, is computed based on the CIF value. And now you are saying we should contract local insurance that will take us to our destination eventually. But the objective is to minimize your cost of transport, your duty. And if duty is CIF, so if you end at Tema, then you minimize your duty. But if you add the extra distance to your location, you increase your CIF value. Am I right?
No. Well, no. Okay, Mr. Blankson will take it up.
So actually, when you say CIF, cost, insurance, and freight, your CIF value and CIF, the obligation of the cost ends at a port.
Right.
Okay. So if you buy goods on CIF value from outside, the cost of transporting it from the port to elsewhere is not on the seller. Because CIF has to end at a port.
Right.
Okay, so again, It's a misunderstanding of the Incoterms. So to be able to understand these things very well, you need to also be abreast if you are in international trade.
Right.
Whether you are a bank, an insurance company, an importer or an exporter, you need to understand the Incoterms and what they stand for.
Right.
What cost implications are there. So when the goods arrive at the port or the airport, the GRA will use CIF values or CIP values to calculate your duty for you.
Yes.
So when you buy cost and freight and you take the insurance locally, it is still CIF value. So what will happen is that when you don't have the insurance, then the GRA will have to use their own figures to arrive at the CIF value. So it is not an extra cost that is being added, whether you have it or not. Your duty will be calculated on CIF value. So that is what we are talking about. And that is higher than when you buy the insurance. As I said, to the seaport, it is 0.875% of the cost and freight value if you don't have the insurance certificate. If it is at the airport, it is 1%.
Right.
Cargo insurance is not up to 1%, Fifi, or you can correct me if I'm wrong. It's between 0.03 to about 0.06%.
Okay.
Yes. So it is really low. So when you take the insurance, you are rather reducing the cost, not increasing the cost.
Right.
And again, it is not an added cost. It is something that most goods that are coming here already CIF value. And what the importers don't realize is that they paid for the insurance value there.
Right.
You are paying. If I'm selling goods to you at X Works, it will be cheaper than when I sell goods to you at CIF value. Because CIF means I'm arranging the transport for you and I'm arranging insurance for you. So I'm charging you for all of it.
Yes.
So it is more expensive for you in that case than when you do it locally. Because locally, one, you can negotiate with the insurance company. Two, you get the benefit of buying the right insurance for the right commodity and for the right destination, as Fifi said. So you'll be able to iron out all the difficulties you have and be able to buy adequate insurance. See, there's one thing having insurance. There's another thing having adequate insurance. Okay, they are two separate things.
Yes.
So we say in insurance that where your insurable value and your sum insured are the same. That is when you have adequate insurance. Anytime that one is higher or one is less, there's something wrong. It's either under insurance or over insurance, which has its own implications.
Okay. Nelson, I hope you've had your answer or your response from Madame Essienim. All right, you were on for all insurance companies to underwrite. That's where you were.
Yeah, so the marine insurance database has been created. It's being linked to the ICOM system so that GRA can also access it. And I think at the last meeting, the NIC was also looking at linking the users themselves, the importers and the exporters also to the platform so that it's a one-stop shop for everybody. It becomes easy for you to use it. And so, one, that platform is a very easy platform to be able to use. And also, the fact that the sensitization has gone round. So it is up to the insurance companies themselves as well to also build capacity. You see, you can't sell something that you have no knowledge of.
Yes.
And the marine industry operate on its own laws. And it's just like being a lawyer and you want to deal with maritime law without understanding shipping.
Yes.
It becomes very difficult because it has its own rules. Like general average, it's not in general insurance. You won't find it anywhere. Exactly. So these are things, and for somebody to have confidence in you, you need to speak their language. So if you don't understand shipping terminology, you don't understand what the laws and regulations in relation to carriage of goods, whether by road, air, sea, and you don't understand international trade terms, and all of these come into play in underwriting marine insurance or cargo insurance, for that matter, because marine obviously is broader than just cargo. So it is important for the insurance companies themselves to build capacity in this area, so that I always find it funny when people send people to my office to come and sell insurance to me. Usually, you realize that the people you send to the field are the face of your company. And some of them, somebody will come and tell you that when you lose your car, you get another car in replacement. Teach them, let the people who are selling the thing on the field have hands-on.
Yeah.
Because they are representing you. So once they misrepresent you, it means that you won't have, there will be no confidence in the insurance companies. So it is important that the insurance companies themselves will build capacity in relation to what it takes to underwrite cargo insurance. Right. And the National Insurance Commission is making sure that that happens so that they are all on the same platform. It's a gradual process. They will get there.
Right.
We'll get there.
Right. Awesome. She just listed some of the measures that have been put in place to ensure the uptake of local insurance. Are these measures, do you think, are good enough?
Well, until we get to a situation where we feel that we've actually arrived, well, and we still have to look into what we're doing and see how we can improve upon it, because other countries have done it way ahead. They are quite developing that. So we have to look how to manage our markets. But to add to what she said, the NIC and the GIC, the NIC has a college, which is the Ghana Insurance College. So it's taking steps to educate, practitioners on the market. Right. So people go there to learn and to learn the trade and all those things. So like she said, it's a gradual process. Yeah. Gradually, the turnout will improve and people will be able to underwrite the marine insurance perfectly. Also, to add to what she said, it's easy to take marine insurance, right? I touched on it earlier on. Yeah. You have an intermediary, which is a broker. You can walk to the broker. You can walk to the insurance company directly, and there shouldn't be any barrier. I explained earlier. Everything will be explained to you in the language that you best understand. And nothing prevents you from asking questions, so that at the time that there is a claim, you wouldn't say that, or it couldn't happen that something wasn't explained well to you. Yeah. And even to touch on the claims aspect, there are, processes as well. So when you are taking the policy, there are, requirements that are made of you. And when you are giving the policy, there are, the claims aspect is also listed in it for you, so that in event that you have a claim, this and this and this are the steps you need to take to make, submit your claim. Right. So everything is being made to make the marine insurance quite simple for everyone. Yeah.
All right, so let me come to Madam again. And I want to find out from you if you think that the documentations, you listed how these processes are done. He also just came in. Whether there are any specific documentations that one would require if I'm an importer and I'm going to ship goods outside and all that, or I'm going to import my goods. Yes. What are the documentations, right, the key ones?
The key ones, if you want to effect a local insurance policy, the key ones that will ask of you, you should be able to, establish ownership of the cargo. So one is the bill of lading that will identify what you want to insure. We have the bill of lading. We ask for the commercial invoice. We ask for the packing list. And if there's any other documents that you have in your possession, these three documents are key to effect the marine insurance policy. So once you have these things, the insurance company will proceed to effect the policy for you. Right. Because the bill of lading has all information on the cargo. The packing list gives every information about the cargo. The commercial invoice gives us the exact value of the cargo. And these three are what we need to effect a correct marine insurance policy.
All right, so let me come to you, Ma'am. There seems to be issues with quick claims and then, access to, easy access to insurance in our country. How do we address these issues?
I think
when the insurance company is coming to sell their product to you, they sweet talk you into it. Now, when it gets to the time for claims, they seem to want to drag their feet and delays and all that.
So for quick claims payment, I think the importer or whoever has the insurable interest in the goods should have all their documents ready. So if it is air, you know that your airway bill will be required. If it is by sea, you know your seaway bill or your bill of lading is a key document.
Yes.
As again, Fifi said, the invoice is very key. Again, in claim process, what usually the insurance company will require from you will be estimated values of loss. Because if you haven't lost the entire thing, it's not a total loss and it's a partial loss.
Yeah.
It means that it's either a cost of salvage, the cost of resale, the cost of, or being able to redeem what is left.
Yeah.
So you need an independent verifier, which we usually call marine surveyors or cargo surveyors, who have to do a survey on the cargo to be able to issue an independent report for the insurance companies to pay. All that cost is part of your claim cost. So the fact that you have appointed an independent surveyor to do it doesn't mean that it's going to be your cost. It's something that you add to the cost of claim.
Right.
So once an incident happens, the first thing you have to do is to notify your insurer.
Right.
Okay, don't touch anything. Notify your insurer and also notify your carrier. This is important because sometimes the carrier's reply to you also helps to facilitate your claim.
Right.
And again, the insurers have what we call a right of subrogation against the carriers.
Right.
So if you don't notify the carrier, it means you are denying the insurer also of their right of subrogation against the carrier. And if you touch things before you, it's just like your car gets damaged, you go and repair it before you inform your insurance company. How do they verify that you had an accident? It will be difficult, right? So the first thing is, if they want to come and cite it, it is their right to do so. If they say you go ahead and appoint an independent surveyor to do it, again, then it means they have given you the authorization to do so. So once that is done, and you have all these documents together, your surveyor's report, your claim estimates, your important document, because every cargo will come with different documentation. If it is something like electricals that you are bringing in, there's an authority that has to give you a certification. If it's about food, you need your Food and Drugs Authority certifications. If it's about standards, you need a standard authority. So every cargo will have its peculiar documentation. So make sure that all the documentations are together.
Right.
Fill your claim form very well. That is why it is good to use brokers as well, or somebody who understands to do it for you, because they will help you with the claim process. And because they deal with the insurance companies all the time, they can walk into Fifi's office or anybody else's office and then go and say that, Charlie, I'm following up on this claim. How far? So use the independent intermediaries like the insurance brokers, the cargo surveyors to help you with the reporting and to help you with the claim process so that they can facilitate. And the insurance companies, the NIC has given them, I think Fifi can point the exact days.
I think the NIC has a protocol on claim settlement. There are timelines that you have to follow to settle a particular claim. These timelines actually, it follows from how fast you also submit your documents, like my sister touched on. And let me tell you, there are a few documents that you need when it comes to the claims, aside the bill of lading. You will need a discrepancy certificate, or if it's short landing, you need certificates to prove that, so that will help the insurance company to quantify your loss. You might come and say, okay, I've lost maybe a certain quantity, but then when the documents come, it will help you to substantiate that. The NIC have specific timelines for insurance companies to settle claims. Once you meet those timelines, you submit the documents. It's about 15 days or so once everything is done. If the insurance company defaults or delays, you have the right to complain access to the NIC, which will take it up with the insurance company. So the NIC is actually making insurance or marine insurance very friendly for the public. So I think access to insurance now shouldn't be an issue. Yes.
All right. Let me still stay with you. There seems to be a clear limitation and difficulty in filing for claims when eventualities occur. And in most cases, importers do not even know the extent of coverage they have, making it difficult for them to get the desired results from filing of claims. How can this phenomenon be addressed?
So I touched on it earlier. when you have your commercial invoice and your bill of lading, you have your, how do you call it, discrepancy certificate, you have your short landing certificate.
Right.
These documents are documents that you need to substantiate your claim.
Right.
And sometimes why people say insurance claims delays are people don't take steps to get the documents that they need. Someone will come with a commercial invoice and a bill of lading to lodge a claim. It takes him about a month to come with a discrepancy certificate. Until all these documents are received, it makes it difficult for the insurance company to progress with your claim. So it's also necessary that you get the requisite documents. If you get your policy and you look at the back of your policy or something like, it's listed as the document that you need to lodge a claim. So once you are aware of these things and the incident happens, you just take steps to get the documents that is required of you, submit them, and the insurance company takes it up from there.
Right. Okay, I'll come to you, Ma'am. But this one says it's a message from somebody watching on Facebook. The fellow says, that's from Ernest Panfo. I know him, he's a staff of Ghana Ports. He says, the freight forwarders themselves who are supposed to enlighten the importers about the importance of marine insurance have a weak understanding of the concept. I think that education on marine insurance should target freight forwarders first.
I think my sister will touch on that. I think the NIC is doing that because that's the stakeholder consultation. We had various off-site meetings with them, and I think they are also coming on board with their understanding of the need for the marine insurance.
Right. Okay, so insurance companies, you mentioned the fact that they are the face of the companies. And so if you send somebody onto the field and the fellow is lax, the fellow is not up to, is not top-notch and cannot sell the product of your company and your company for that matter, it means that the confidence level in your product or your company dips. What should they be doing to up the confidence level of the public in them?
Thank you, Kennedy, for this question. Just like you heard Fifi speaking right now and stressing on discrepancy certificate, for example. Maritime trade has evolved. And so, again, it comes from capacity building.
Right.
If somebody is doing cargo in a container, sealed by the exporter,
right,
and I have imported it here, the carrier will notify on the bill of lading that set to contain. So if I say that the thing is set to contain, what I'm trying to say is that I never cited what was in there. I never touched it. And so whatever the person told me is inside is what I have reported on the bill of lading. So if you tell me, a carrier, to issue a discrepancy certificate for something like this, the carrier will not do it. So it means that if the insurance company does not understand this, they will be insisting that bring discrepancy certificate.
Right.
Where is the importer going to get that discrepancy certificate from? Because the carrier will not be willing to issue something that the seal has not been. So the only way to know whether there's been a discrepancy from the carrier is when the seal on the container has been broken. So that's why I'm saying that the insurance companies themselves need to educate themselves on maritime issues. So first, get to understand the industry. It's about trade.
Right.
Trade has rules. There are different things, right from what term, even the term the person is buying on determines who has an insurable interest in the goods at the time of the claim.
Right.
And if you, the insurer, understands even the Incoterms very well, you'll be able to know this one, but it's not your risk because the goods were coming DDP. So if the loss occurred at the port and the goods were supposed to be cleared and delivered to you, then where the risk, it's from the seller, it's not you. So then you will not also be duped because you understand it. So one, they should come to the West Africa School of Shipping for training.
Great.
Okay? So they should understand maritime business. Two, the NIC is doing a lot to sensitize the insurance companies themselves.
Absolutely.
As well as you said, the intermediaries within the chain. The importers themselves, the exporters, the freight forwarders, everybody within the chain, including the GRE.
Absolutely.
Everybody within the chain needs education to be able to come to a common front that this is good and we can make it better by beating our breast with the issue.
Thank you very much indeed, Madam Gertrude Ohene. Gertrude Ajua Ohene Esienim, Executive Director, White Stone Shipbrokers Limited, and indeed West Africa School of Shipping Limited. She's a member of the Cargo Marine Committee. She's also a lecturer at RMU, amongst others. And then we also have Mr. Emmanuel Fifi Blankson, who is also an insurer and a member of the Cargo Marine Committee. These are the two personalities we've had a discussion with tonight. We'd like to say big thanks to our sponsors: Ghana Revenue Authority, GWEL PLC, Serene Insurance, Ghana Link Network Services, Meridian Port Services, and then indeed, that is Ghana Link, and then Phoenix Insurance. These are the companies that are supporting us, and we'd like to say big thanks to them. Indeed, remember the show is powered by the Ghana Ports and Harbors Authority, and we would like to entreat you to watch that brief version of the show on Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. on Ghana Television. My name is Kennedy Mona. I would like to say thank you very much for staying tuned and for watching our report tonight. God willing, next week we shall bounce back with another wonderful edition of the show. Have a super week ahead and enjoy the rest of the evening. Good evening.